How bin ya? Welcome to the Black Country Craftsman's YouTube channel. If you enjoy our content, please subscribe. Smash us a like. Your support is much appreciated. So let's crack on with the rest of the video. This video is part 12 of the house renovation playlist, where I've purchased a 2-bedroom house to renovate for the rental market. If you'd like to find out more advice on renting houses and the things to look out for before you buy one, check out my other video, the Buy to Let Guide. So let's crack on and pick up where we left off. In the last episode, I'd marked up and cut out for the sink to be fitted and fitted the edging strips on the side of the worktops. So I'm now ready to fit the sink. Now, before we fit the sink, we need to attach certain parts of this waste kit. This sink is classed as a bowl and half, so I've bought the appropriate kit. The two pieces I need to fit are these two waste connections there. It's much easier to fit them while it is than to fit them when it's fitted. So yeah, that's the first job. We'll open them up and we'll show you how that's done. Firstly, we need to fit the overflow connection. It's quite simple. That goes at the back. You've got a plate at the front that you apply silicone around the edge just to glue it in and seal it in position, and then you bolt them all together. Using clear sanitary silicone. Now seal all the joints to connect to the sink and then put it together. Okay, we're all sealed up. And around the front in particular, use these industrial wipes to basically wipe off all the excessive silicone, both at the top and at the bottom. Repeat the process if you need to on the following hole, and then we're ready now after that to look at fitting the sink. I'm trying the sink in and trying this waste system that I've bought. It's evident that it's not going to work. So I'm going to have to come up with another plan regarding the waste. Before we do that, one thing I didn't forget to do was fit the taps. So always fit the taps before you glue and fit the sink in position. Okay, looking at refitting these taps. Now these taps were off the old sink. They'd only just been replaced. They look fairly new, so we're recycling these to save us a little bit of money. Just placed a little bit of silicone on the bottom that we'll be wiping off as we have before when they're fitted. Basically, underneath you will have a thread that you attach to the taps, along with a bracket that holds it in with a rubber seal. Using these kind of spanners to tighten them up. Taps are now fitted, making sure they're tight. Place a bead of clear silicone around the edge of the worktop. Then push the sink into position. Okay, as these sinks push down into position, I've pushed it down, all the silicone has come out and I've cleaned it all off, all the way around. A couple of areas across the front there, I've had to clamp it down and I'll obviously leave that to set, as it wasn't quite pushing down and gripping down. Here's a quick look underneath, see how they work. You've got these clips that dig into the timber. When you push them down, obviously if you want to ever release it, just press that button and that releases the clips. Hopefully you won't have to do that. Okay, the waist has now been fitted. As I said previously, the last kit that I bought, I was struggling with the design of it and it just wasn't working for me. So I've had to create my own way of getting around this by putting two U-bends, the left and right, and then connecting them in the centre with a T, with the pipe going outside to the waist. So as you can see, we've got the water running nicely now, as the taps have also been connected. So yeah, we're all good with the sink. Now there is one thing I just want to point out regarding fitting these waists together, is you've got a few different joints. I think we've touched on the solvent weld in the past, and obviously you've got this one which is basic push fit. Now the pipe, which is a 40mm pipe, the push fit pipe, which is probably that one, works perfectly with that one, but it doesn't work with the solvent weld. You have to have a particular pipe, a different pipe to do the solvent weld. It's slightly bigger, and that pipe there, which is the push fit one, won't work with the solvent weld. Now there's one connection that works on both of them. So if ever you have to go from a push fit and you prefer a solvent weld, then you use a joint like that. So both pipes, whether it's the push fit or the solvent weld, both of them will work with that one. Okay, now don't forget to test the overflow. And as you can hear, the water is trickling through that black pipe there. As you can see, we've got no leaks. What I also do is fill the two bowls full of water and release the water. So you do get a lot of water then flowing through these pipes, and that's a good indication that you've done all the pipe work correctly, and fingers crossed you've got no leaks. Okay, in the next job I plan to fit this steel splashback in this section here. Now as you can see from when I first started to fit the pelmets, that I had them protruding out like so on the ends. Since then, as I moved along, I changed the design slightly, which I think that looks a lot better. So I need to remove those, and simply I just need to cut a section off there so that joint won't be affected, and all I need to do is to cut that joint and basically make that slightly smaller and refit that once I've fitted this. Now this one does come with sticky pads. If it doesn't, all you need to do is a couple of blobs of silicone just to hold it in position. Okay, place it in position, and don't forget to peel the protective cover off all around the corners before you push it into position. Right, all the pelmets are now reduced. It's a lot better, much happier with that. Another job ticked off the list with the splashback fitted. Next job will be the upstands, which is a small section that fits above there, and that will go all the way around the kitchen. We'll make a start on that soon. Okay, I've placed the upstand in position, ready to mark. Now, it doesn't particularly matter whether you fit this section first and butt up to that section there, or whether you go that way there and butt up to that section that way. All I've done here is put it right up close to the wall. What I'm going to do, I'm going to roughly mark it. I'm going to leave a few mil over, as what I plan to do is put a mitered joint there to finish that section off. Set the miter saw to a 45-degree angle. Then proceed to carefully cut the upstands with the back facing upwards. Okay, this is the piece that we've measured up and done the miter. What I've done with this one is done a return miter that way. What we need to do now is we need to cut that square to that. So you end up with a piece similar to this sort of shape that literally just fits on the end, just to finish that section off. So it's not unsightly on the ends. So what we end up with is something like this. Basically now that just needs to be glued onto there before we cut this main section down to length properly. Okay, now we've cut that to size. You can see by looking at that corner why I've done that little bit of a return there. You've got a little bit of an overhang there from the splashback, and it would look really unsightly if you just cut that flat and you got bare timber showing. So that's the reason I've done that. What we need to do now is all we basically need to do now is just put some silicone adhesive on the back of these upstands and just push them and fit them in place. As I've just said, apply various blobs of adhesive to the upstand. Then push it in position. Right, put this one in place. With the inner joint, it's not really common practice to do a mitered joint in the corner. As you can see, all you really need to do is butt it up square. That's all you really need to do on the inner one. It's, as I said, you don't really need to do a mitered joint. It's difficult to get it to work out, as the walls are not perfectly at a right angle. Some of the upstands do have a little bit of a curve on them. So if you do come across those, basically what you do is when you cut it square, you need to scribe it around the corner so it does fit around the angle. Lucky for us, these are just a square edged upstand, so I don't need to do that. Okay, long section now is all measured up with a square line across. Of course, now we need to do the 45-degree miter that way to create an angle there, so we can again cut another little piece down just to finish that corner off. Again, set your saw up appropriately, straight cut with a 45-degree angle slanted that way. Okay, long section has now been fitted. Same as before, small little mitered joint there just to finish that edge off nicely. As you may have noticed as well, I'll just put a few screws there and there just to hold it down while the adhesive is going off. Again, common practice, remove those, and when we decorate, what we'll do, finish that off with a nice bead of white silicone to finish that off. Okay, continue and complete the rest of your kitchen with your upstands. Okay, worktops are now all complete. Next job I need to have a look at is the cookout and the hob. Need to have a look at marking the hob out and cutting it out. Right, I've popped the cooker in just to have a look to make sure it fits, just to make sure there's no obstacles all underneath. Don't forget you had your gas pipe, just to make sure everything's okay with that. Put the hob on top just to give me a rough indication as to where we need to put it before we start to mark it out. Right, while we're on the subject of things getting blocked, I just want to do a quick check on the hob. Turn the hob upside down. If you can see, that's roughly around 30mm. The light's not very good. But that is roughly just over 30mm. Now we've got a 40mm worktop, so that section there will be completely covered with the worktop, so we haven't got to worry about any obstacles underneath stopping that bit there. Regarding the size, the overall size is 5'10", and the internal measurement is roughly around just over 4'75", from the edge of there to where the gas pipe is situated, and across we've got just over, say about 5'54", 5'53" on the width. Now always revert to your manufacturer's instructions. In the instructions it does state that the width across the top has to be 560, and from front to back you've got a little bit of discrepancy there with 480 to 490. Now that's regarding the gas pipe. On the ends it's got Y there, which is the measurement there, which states in the book Y has to be a minimum of 50, so 50mm across the front and across the back. So what I've done is, first of all, I put a mark there which was in line with the edge of the worktop there and there. I then, with that line going up there on the edge of there, got the centralised line. So with your ruler or a tape measure, I measured the 560 from there to there. I then measured 50mm from the end, which was that second line there. I have bought it, that 50mm there, and then I proceeded to go up about 20mm, because that line there was the outside. That'll be the outside of where the hob will go from the front. So measured 20mm up. I have brought it forward 5mm and measured from that line up there to there, and I've done 490, so I've got a little bit of give. I can move that up and down slightly. The reason being is we've got the gas pipe there, and right in this corner we'll have the gas connection to the hob. I'm a little bit concerned that I may have to move that support post, but if I have to, then I have to. There's nothing I can do about it. As with the sink top cutout, do your 4 holes using again your appropriate speed bit. In this case, I've had to remove the metal support underneath temporarily, as it would interfere with me cutting underneath. Sometimes they are a wooden support, which unfortunately you'd have to cut through that one, but as it's a metal one, it's not really good practice to try and jigsaw through the centre of that. So it's easily removed, so I've taken it out and I will fit it back later. So yeah, I need to now continue with the jigsaw and cut this section out. Carefully start to cut the hole out using a jigsaw. So that concludes the worktops. The hob fits in a treat. Underneath, it's worked out really well as well, as we've got the gas connection with ample space this side of the support. And all we need to do now is get the plumber in. Of course, a gas safe engineer, always a gas safe engineer, don't forget, to pipe that in for us and get it commissioned. So join me next time when I continue to finish the kitchen by fitting the ducting to the extractor fan and fit the plinths. Okay, if you've enjoyed this video, smash us a like, drop us a comment, and if we can help you, we will. And please subscribe to give us a little support. Also, please check out our other videos, as we've got quite a few out now. You may find something that might just help you out in the future. I'm the Black Country Craftsman. Don't forget to tell your muckers. Learning how to fix these problems yourself is cheaper than paying someone else to do it for you. Thanks for watching.